There were some who said he was marked with heroic sanctity and great achievement from his very birth. He would bring about the salvation of many souls through the founding of the Order of Preachers, and his advocacy and preaching of the Most Holy Rosary of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Saint Dominic was born at Calaruga in Old Castile in northern Spain in the year 1170. He was born of Spanish nobility. Little is known about his father, Felix Guzman, except that he was the head of a family of saints. His mother, Joanna of Azaa, was beatified by Pope Leo XII in 1828, as well as one of St. Dominic's brothers, Manes Guzman, was also beatified by Gregory XVI. Before the birth of St. Dominic, his mother had a dream as she waited the delivery of the child.
She thought that she bore in her womb a dog, and that it broke away from her, a burning torch in its mouth, wherewith it would set the world aflame.
As a boy, St. Dominic was already marked for the university and destined for the priesthood. For in that age, it wasn't too uncommon for boys to already know and ultimately carry out their vocation. Even at his early age, he was a clever boy who would pretend to be an ascetic monk, especially by crawling out of bed at night, resolving rather to lie on the ground than in his bed. In 1184, St. Dominic attended the University of Palencia for 10 years, where he excelled in his studies, amid the trivial behavior and overindulgence of a university city. The life of the future saint was characterized by seriousness of purpose and acts of self-denial, which singled him out as one from whom great things might be expected in the future. Twice he tried to sell himself into slavery to obtain money for the liberation of those who were held in captivity by the Moors. When St. Dominic was about 20 years old, he was asked to join the Diocese of Osma and was appointed canon, which is a permanent staff worker of the cathedral. Some time after his ordination, he later became superior of the chapter. It was here that Alfonso IX, King of Castile, was to demand from the Lord of the Marches the hand of his daughter on behalf of the king's son, Prince Ferdinand. Don Diego de Azevedo, the Bishop of Osma, chose St. Dominic for his companion on this mission. On their way to Rome, they encountered the spiritual ruin caused by what was called the Albigensian heresy. The Albigensian heresy was a form of Gnosticism which held that the material world was evil and the spiritual world was good. Matter was in itself evil, and therefore to prolong the existence of matter was evil. The only real act of goodness was the getting rid of life.
The churches are empty, the people without priests, the sacraments without reverence. People on their deathbed refuse the assistance of the church and ridicule penance. Saint Bernard of Clairvaux.
It was because of the exposure to this heresy that St. Dominic was inspired to create an order for the purpose of combating heresy and spreading the light of the gospel by preaching to the ends of the known world. This was to become known as the Dominican Order. When St. Dominic arrived in Rome, he was instructed by Pope Innocent III to go to South France to preach and combat the Albigensian heresy. St. Dominic, seeing that the gravity of people's sins was hindering the conversion of the Albigensians, withdrew into the forest where he prayed unceasingly for 3 days and 3 nights. During this time, he did nothing but weep and do harsh penances in order to appease the anger of Almighty God. He used his discipline so much that his body was lacerated, and finally he fell into a coma. Our Lady then appeared to him and said,
"Wonder not that you have obtained so little fruit by your labors. You have spent them on barren soil, not yet watered with the dew of divine grace. When God willed to renew the face of the earth, he began by sending down on it the fertilizing rain of the angelic salutation. Therefore, preach my Psalter, composed of 150 angelic salutations and 15 Our Fathers, and you will obtain an abundant harvest.
Dominic was told that if he did as instructed, the heresy would be dispelled from France. Eventually, after widespread teachings on the Rosary and the meditations on the life, death, and resurrection of Christ, the heresy was defeated and the Church was strengthened. Tradition tells us that St. Dominic is widely associated with the origin and creation of the Rosary because he was the first to implement the widespread teaching of this sacred devotion. Even though the true origin of the Rosary proceeds many years earlier, the Virgin Mary still gave the devotion to Dominic to spread throughout the world. This was the torch he used to set the world aflame.